The global travel landscape for American tourists has changed dramatically in recent years, with several countries now presenting significant challenges and risks for US visitors. While international travel remains popular among Americans, certain nations have developed particularly strong anti-American sentiments, making them potentially dangerous or unwelcoming destinations for US citizens. Stick around as we uncover the 10 countries where you might want to think twice before visiting in 2025. Just 90 miles from Florida, Cuba has long been a point of intrigue and challenge for American travelers. This island nation, with its vibrant culture and historical ties to the United States, remains largely off-limits for pure tourism due to long-standing political tensions and a US embargo. The US embargo against Cuba has been in place since the early 1960s, affecting trade, commerce and travel. For American travelers, this means that tourism for leisure alone is still prohibited. However, there are 12 authorized travel categories under which Americans can legally visit Cuba. These categories are specifically designed to encourage purposeful, structured trips that promote cultural exchange, family reunions, and specific forms of professional and educational engagement. Examples include family visits, journalistic activity, religious activities, public performances, and professional research. To enter Cuba, American travelers must obtain a Cuban tourist card, also known as a visa. The process is generally straightforward, as most airlines provide the option to purchase the card when booking flights. For Americans in Cuba, planning is essential due to the island's restricted financial infrastructure. US credit and debit cards are not accepted in Cuba, and American travelers are unable to withdraw cash from ATMs. As a result, visitors must bring enough cash to cover all expenses for the entire duration of their trip, including lodging, meals, transportation, and any additional activities. Venezuela, a country known for its striking landscapes and rich cultural heritage, remains a difficult and often restricted destination for American travelers. Although American travelers are not officially banned from visiting Venezuela, the obstacles they face make the country one of the least accessible for US citizens. Venezuela and the United States have had strained diplomatic relations for years, which has affected travel policies. Venezuela requires US citizens to obtain a visa prior to arrival, a process that can be lengthy and challenging. Applicants must provide detailed documentation, attend in-person interviews, and pay significant fees. Venezuela has experienced significant economic and political turmoil in recent years, leading to widespread shortages of basic goods, high inflation, and an unstable security situation. The US Department of State has issued travel advisories warning American citizens of the potential risks of traveling to Venezuela. Reports of crime, including robberies, kidnappings, and violent incidents, are common, and Americans are often advised to avoid travel to certain regions of the country altogether. Due to economic challenges, travelers will find that their options for accommodations and dining are limited. Americans are advised to research lodging carefully, looking for accommodations that are safe and reputable. Many travelers choose to stay in hotels with higher security standards, which can limit their choices to a few options in larger cities such as Caracas. Myanmar, a Southeast Asian country rich in history and cultural diversity, has increasingly become a restricted destination for American travelers. Myanmar's recent history has been marked by political turmoil, particularly since the military coup in February 2021, which led to widespread protests, violence, and a deterioration in civil freedoms. The coup disrupted the democratic progress Myanmar had been making, drawing international condemnation and increasing tensions with countries like the United States. In response to the situation, the US government has imposed sanctions and diplomatic restrictions, contributing to a hostile environment for travelers. Securing a visa for the country has become more challenging for Americans. While it is technically possible to obtain a tourist visa online or through a Myanmar embassy, approvals have become unpredictable, with some applications experiencing delays or rejections. Once in the country, American travellers are advised to avoid certain areas, particularly regions experiencing armed conflict between the military and ethnic groups. Travel restrictions to conflict zones are strictly enforced, and even in major cities, visitors are urged to exercise caution. The limitations on movement and the risk of sudden travel bans make Myanmar an increasingly complex destination for Americans. Turkmenistan, a nation in Central Asia known for its sweeping deserts, ancient Silk Road sites and striking white marble architecture, stands out as one of the world's most challenging destinations for Americans. The United States maintains limited diplomatic relations with Turkmenistan, and ongoing issues related to human rights and democratic governance remain a source of tension between the two nations. This strained relationship directly impacts American travellers, making the visa process particularly complex and unpredictable. Securing a visa is not straightforward. The process requires a letter of invitation, which can only be arranged through a Turkmen travel agency that applies for the document on behalf of the traveller. This approval process can take several weeks, and there is no guarantee of success, as the Turkmen government exercises strict control over who is granted entry. Independent travel in Turkmenistan is almost unheard of. Most foreign visitors are required to book a guided tour for the entire duration of their stay, effectively eliminating the possibility of spontaneous exploration. Every aspect of the itinerary, from the sites visited to the accommodations and guides, is monitored and regulated. Upon arrival in Turkmenistan, travellers must register with the State Migration Service within 3 days, a mandatory process that requires additional paperwork and incurs fees. Failing to comply with this requirement can result in fines and complications when trying to leave the country. This adds another layer of formality and restriction to an already regulated travel experience, as registration serves as yet another way for the government to monitor visitors' movements and ensure adherence to local laws. Bhutan, a small, landlocked kingdom nestled in the eastern Himalayas, is one of the most selective travel destinations in the world. Bhutan's tourism strategy, known as high-value, low-impact, is designed to limit the number of visitors each year, thereby protecting the country's natural and cultural resources from the potential negative effects of mass tourism. To achieve this, Bhutan mandates that all foreign visitors pay a daily sustainable development fee, which ranges from $200 to $250. All travellers to Bhutan are required to book their trips through a licensed Bhutanese tour operator or an approved international partner. This ensures that visitors follow the country's strict tourism guidelines and contribute directly to Bhutan's economy in a sustainable manner. The booking process can be relatively straightforward, though it involves some advanced planning. Licensed tour operators handle everything from accommodations to guided itineraries, ensuring that visitors have a seamless travel experience while adhering to Bhutan's sustainable tourism practices. Bhutan's commitment to cultural preservation and environmental sustainability is intertwined with its unique measure of progress: gross national happiness. Bhutan is the only country in the world that uses GNH as a metric, prioritizing holistic well-being over material wealth. Russia, the world's largest country by landmass and a place of rich cultural and historical heritage, has become a challenging destination for American travelers in recent years. Diplomatic relations between the United States and Russia have grown increasingly strained over the last decade, particularly due to issues surrounding political disagreements, cybersecurity concerns, and military activities. As a result, obtaining a Russian visa has become more difficult for American travelers. The visa process for Russia is time-consuming, requiring extensive documentation and in-person visits to a Russian consulate or visa center, as the country does not offer an e-visa option for Americans. Applicants must provide a detailed travel itinerary, an official letter of invitation from a Russian host or tour company, and proof of accommodation for each night of their stay. The visa application process can take several weeks, and even then, approval is not guaranteed. Furthermore, processing times can be extended or visas denied altogether for political reasons, adding a layer of unpredictability. Once in Russia, Americans may find that their movements are monitored and that independent travel comes with certain restrictions. Communication can also be an issue, as certain social media platforms, news websites, and online services commonly used in the United States may be restricted in Russia. Additionally, foreign mobile devices may be subject to monitoring, making it important for American travelers to be cautious when using their phones or accessing sensitive information online while in the country. Libya, with its ancient archaeological sites and scenic Mediterranean coastline, was once an appealing destination for history enthusiasts and adventurers alike. However, since the civil war erupted in 2011, the nation has been embroiled in ongoing conflict, transforming it into one of the world's most dangerous places for travelers. The US Department of State has issued a "Do Not Travel" advisory for Libya, the highest level of warning available, due to severe risks associated with crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. For Americans especially, the risks are extremely high, and the potential for harm is considerable. One of the most prominent incidents highlighting these dangers was the tragic attack on the US diplomatic compound in Benghazi in 2012. This attack led the US to suspend all embassy operations in Libya, and no consular services are available to American citizens in the country. For US travelers, this lack of diplomatic presence means that in the event of an emergency, there is no government assistance, making Libya particularly hazardous. Eritrea, a country nestled in the Horn of Africa along the Red Sea, is often dubbed the North Korea of Africa due to its reclusive policies and tightly controlled governance. Securing a tourist visa for Eritrea is a lengthy and unpredictable process, making it one of the initial barriers to visiting this secretive nation. The visa application procedure requires patience, as approvals can take several months. Furthermore, obtaining a visa is far from guaranteed. Even with all necessary documents in order, applicants may still face denial without a clear explanation. Even for those who secure entry, travel within Eritrea is tightly controlled. Movement outside the capital city Asmara requires additional permits from the Eritrean government. These permits can be difficult to obtain as the application process is lengthy and often requires substantial justification for travel beyond Asmara. Additionally, the US State Department advises caution due to Eritrea's unpredictable security environment. While Eritrea has recently improved relations with its neighbor Ethiopia, border disputes and regional conflicts still pose potential risks, especially in areas near the border. Iran, with its millennia-old heritage and breathtaking architecture, offers an alluring experience for history enthusiasts and cultural explorers. However, due to long-standing political tensions and complex visa requirements, Iran remains a challenging and highly regulated destination for American travelers. Since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which drastically altered US-Iran diplomatic relations, Americans have faced substantial barriers to visiting this culturally rich yet politically sensitive nation. For Americans, obtaining a visa to visit Iran is a challenging, time-consuming process that requires determination and patience. Unlike many countries that allow tourists some degree of flexibility, Iran mandates that US citizens travel only as part of an organized tour. These tours must be managed by a government-approved guide, and follow a strict, pre-approved itinerary, which restricts personal exploration and spontaneity. Independent travel is simply not an option, as every aspect of the visit must be planned and approved in advance. North Korea is one of the most isolated nations on the planet and ranks at the top of the list of countries where travelers face the most stringent restrictions. The country's political isolation, strict internal control and historical antagonism toward Western nations have created an environment that few foreigners, particularly Americans, are allowed to enter. Before 2017, a small number of Americans were able to experience North Korea through highly controlled, organized tours originating in China. These tours offered a glimpse into North Korean life, though they were carefully curated by government-approved guides who showed visitors only specific state-sanctioned sites and attractions. This limited openness, however, was short-lived. A tragic incident in 2016 involving an American student named Otto Warmbier led to the abrupt end of American tourism to North Korea. Otto Warmbier, a University of Virginia student, entered North Korea in late 2015 as part of a guided tour. While departing from Pyongyang International Airport, he was detained by North Korean authorities, who accused him of attempting to steal a propaganda poster from his hotel. Within weeks, Warmbier was subjected to a brief, high-profile trial, resulting in a harsh 15-year hard labor sentence. His treatment, while in custody, remains shrouded in mystery, but Warmbier ultimately returned to the United States in 2017 in a comatose state, tragically passing away shortly after. Warmbier's case served as a stark reminder of the risks American travelers face in North Korea. In response to this incident, the US government imposed a travel ban in July 2017, barring American citizens from visiting North Korea under ordinary circumstances. This policy, still in effect, is enforced through restrictions on American passports, which cannot be used for North Korean travel unless a rare exception is granted.